Hi everybody, I'm Robbie Billups.
I'm Jonathan Strickland.
And you're watching The Deep's Flashback.
Yo man, you gotta chill out with that Joe West man crush stuff. It's killing my vibe.
What, he was on Rent?
Killing me, Smalls.
Hey everybody, and thanks for coming back and checking out our third episode. We're going to be talking about the third episode of the CW's The Flash, which is titled Things You Can't Outrun. I overall liked the episode, didn't think it was as good as the previous two, though I did like the episode.
Yeah, it was good. Definitely the title fits for what's going on. Things You Can't Outrun. A lot of flashbacks from Caitlin and Cisco's past, what happened during the particle accelerator. It was great stuff.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the flashbacks, if you will. A lot of focus on Caitlin Snow, what happened in the accident at the particle accelerator. We meet Ronnie Raymond, her fiance. I really think that Caitlin's warming up in the show. At first, you're not quite sure that you can wrap your head around her. You can't quite get into her, but I think she's going to become a very integral part of this show. I really like her and the dynamic she has with Cisco. But the idea that she doesn't want to go back to the particle accelerator because she doesn't want to face the emotions of losing her fiance. That's something you can't outrun. Right. I really think it hits on all levels once again.
Yeah, when they flash back and you see her happy, engaged to Ronnie. By the way, I like who they casted for Ronnie. Stephen Amell's cousin, as you can tell, definitely in the face. It's kind of weird for me because I'm like, they look like brothers, so I don't know if they're going to play on that when the Arrow and them finally meet. Who knows if we're ever actually going to get a Firestorm. Hopefully we do. But I really did like Ronnie in this. Wish there was more of him. I hope they touch on more of that.
I'm sure he'll be coming back. And as we just mentioned, Ronnie Raymond in the comics becomes the superhero Firestorm, who debuted in Firestorm number 1, 1978.
What'd you think about him?
I liked him. I'm used to seeing Ronnie Raymond be a little bit more irresponsible.
Right.
He's the lead structural engineer for Star Labs, and so it was cool. And of course he has to sacrifice himself basically to save everybody. I really liked that aspect of it. In fact, I love the moment when Caitlin says, I didn't want him to be a hero. I wanted him to be my husband. Yeah. I really felt bad for Caitlin Snow in this episode, and I really think you're supposed to. There were a few marks that were right on the money, though. She mentions how Ronnie used to say they were like fire and ice. Firestorm, Killer Frost.
Really corny, but I love it.
Yeah. I also really like Cisco's guilt, because Cisco's the one that has to lock Ronnie in the particle accelerator. Yeah. And so I think there might be something there.
It was cool seeing him in that serious tone because he's really goofy. He's always making the wise joke. He gives the names for the villains. The Mist!
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to go with The Mist. That's really good, yeah. So it's cool seeing him in a serious setting.
Speaking of The Mist, the villain this episode, The Mist, Kyle Nimbus is his name. He is a character from the golden age of comics. He was a Starman villain who first appeared in Adventure Comics number 67 from 1941. Oh. I thought The Mist was cool. It looked all right, and that's another thing you can't outrun, right? Though Barry did.
Reminded me of, once again, we referenced Matrix Reloaded.
Yeah.
This is the second time, and reminded me that scene where the two twins are fighting each other, and Trinity's facing them on top of it, and they turn into the Mist. I don't know if they're pulling for a lot from that, but it reminded me of it, but I still liked it.
I liked it overall. I don't think he's as strong of a villain as the Weather Wizard or Multiplex even. Multiplex so far to me has been the best villain.
Yeah,
but of course next week we're getting Captain Cold. So I think The Mist was cool. It was doable, and it was really neat to see something that the Flash couldn't punch. He, every time he ran at him, he just ran right through him. The effects looked really cool on The Mist.
What I don't like though is how is The Mist landing a hit on Barry? Barry is. We've seen the scenes in this episode where he slows things down, and it's so epic. So I'm like, there's no way he should even be touched by this Mist. This dude's too slow for him. What do you think about that?
I think the idea would be that Barry's still very new to these powers.
And
so he hasn't quite figured out exactly how to do it. And plus, even though he's got powers, he's got to have the concentration and the focus. So when he's chasing down the Mist and he's doing all that stuff, it's hard for him to focus and figure out how to beat the character.
We've said it. He just hasn't tapped into that full potential yet. He's not even scratching the surface. So.
Not yet, but it's episode 3.
It's episode 3.
They got to have some tricks saved up their sleeve, right? So Iris and Eddie had a little bit of a spotlight. At least that's finally out in the open.
Finally.
I really liked the scene because we were watching it And I was like, what? He's a great detective and he can't tell that they're together?
Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he already
Joe
knew.
knew.
Joe knew.
Daddies know. Daddies don't play.
Yeah, Joe's awesome. By the way, Joe West, amazing.
Crush.
Amazing on the show. Jesse L. Martin.
He played in
amazing.
Rent.
He did. He did play in Rent. A little bit more about Harrison Wells. We were talking about the particle accelerator accident and how they go back and they show what exactly went down in Star Labs. Now, who is Wells? What is his thing? And if you notice,
Yeah, dude.
every episode he's got to stand up, take off his glasses. So obviously now the glasses are a disguise. But who is he? And we've been talking about he could possibly be the Reverse Flash. And one of the things I liked is when they were first firing up the particle accelerator, they were really excited. And he says, yeah, I know. It feels like I've been waiting for this for centuries. Centuries. We believe he's from the future.
Definitely.
Maybe he's Eddie Vaughn from the future.
I don't know who he is, dude. We're 3 for 3 on episodes where he stands up and does something weird at the end. I won't be surprised next week if he does something weird at the end again.
Yeah.
But he basically, this episode confirmed that he set up Barry's origin as a Flash. So that's crazy.
Oh, yeah. He obviously is there to protect Barry,
Yeah.
to kind of guide him into a certain direction. He's obviously got knowledge from the future if he's not from the future. I think there's a lot to Harrison Wells that we will be finding out throughout this season.
Oh, yeah.
Barry and his dads. Barry had a really cool arc in this episode involving his fathers, basically, with Joe helping Barry now to prove his dad's innocence. And I really liked those scenes in the jail with Barry going to visit his dad, especially at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking to him about
Emotional.
running to his mother when he learned how to walk. And it's very emotional, and that's what I'm liking about the show. It's giving us everything that we could want out of a superhero TV show, and it's doing it in movie fashion. This is like the Avengers on the small screen. It's like a perfect, encapsulation of what the comic book is on the small screen. But with all of that, they're still giving us these small human moments. This episode is about Caitlin,
Yeah.
letting go of Ronnie's death. This is about Cisco's guilt. It's about Harrison Wells' manipulation. It's about Joe and Barry's,
Yeah.
They're trying to save Barry's dad, and it's there's so much emotion and it's so character driven, and that's one of my absolute favorite things about the show.
That's what I was going to say, because for a TV show to flourish like this is right now, you had an episode where it didn't really focus on Barry at all. I mean, you had his dad's, but he wasn't the central point of the episode. You kind of felt like it was Caitlin answering those questions about her fiance as Ronnie. And you have a TV show, when you have a supporting cast like that, I think it's just going to flourish. It's going to do great because you don't have to be one-dimensional. It's not every week Barry's got to face his villain, he's got to capture him, put him in jail, and that's the end of the episode. You can go different ways, and I love that.
This episode definitely slowed down the pace from the previous two episodes, but I think it was necessary.
Yeah.
They're giving us the right emotional moments that we need. The only thing I'm not quite sold on yet is Iris West,
Yeah.
but her time is coming, I guarantee
Yeah,
it.
I agree.
So what was your favorite Easter egg in this episode?
Easter egg. I love when Joe is walking up with Barry up the stairs, and he's talking about how he's the one who caught that guy with the gun with the police officers were chasing earlier in the beginning of the episode. And Barry's like, well, it's not like they're going to build a Flash museum of me or anything. So he referenced a museum that eventually is going to be made of him. He didn't say Flash, but he did say a museum. So it's funny to put in little Easter eggs in like that.
Yeah, I liked it too. The reference to the Flash Museum, classic. The show is still very action-packed, very character-driven. It's chock full of drama and humor. I like the show. 3 episodes in. Episode 3 may not be the best, but they can't all be like the second episode. I really, really liked it. So thank you guys for coming in and checking out our newest episode. Be sure to come back next week where we'll be talking about the Captain Cold episode.
Cold, dude. Captain Cold, who is played by Wentworth Miller from Prison Break.
From Prison Break.
A lot of you Prison Break lovers, I'm sure that you're out there.
Somewhere.
You're going to love him.
Somewhere there's someone
as
who
Captain
loves Prison
Cold.
Break.
Somewhere. Somebody. I know you're there.
Well, we appreciate it, guys, and we'll flash back next week.
Flashback.
Feel like the Flash, better yet I'm Barry Allen. Can't rewind time without messing up the balance. Told my girl I don't think I really got the talent. She said go chase your dreams and see what God allows to happen. Past tense, the rapper Randy Savage. Do you know how many years